Hello and welcome back to the Team JDG YouTube channel. We are here with something different, something special for you all today. That's right, it is the State of Speed podcast. This is going to be a regular podcast featuring the members of Judgment Gaming. You all know me, I am Justice. I am the founder of Team JDG of Judgment Gaming. I am joined, of course, by my usual partner in crime, Terra Master. So he is here. You know him, you love him. Another member of our team, Curseof, the premier voice on YouTube, I will say, for Speed Duel content. I'm going to put it out there. Fight me about it. And the newest member of Judgment Gaming, Drake, who is going to be serving as our moderator for the podcast. We're very excited to have him on the team. So welcome. And yeah, I'm just going to toss it over to you to get the discussion started.
All right. Welcome, everybody. We have some great topics today. A lot to talk about. We're going to start with the newest news. I figure that makes the most sense. We got a ban list recently, sort of. It is event exclusive. It is for YCS Niagara, and it is Duel Links style. So I think we should just start there. What do you guys think about the fact that how this is implemented? The fact that it's event exclusive and that it is Duel Links style.
Well, it's relevant to me to start off here, so I have the biggest opinion here.
True.
I like the idea of going into, testing the cards and the ban list, because obviously Konami's not gonna give resources to speed duels. But it's definitely weird having the fact that we don't know what changes could occur and when they will occur. It's definitely a bit annoying, especially with the online community being involved so heavily.
Yeah, I will say for me, I get the idea behind, all right, look, this may not just be the list for the next 6 months, right? And it's fluid, it can change. I get that. And I'm actually okay with that because as we've seen, and I think the general sentiment in the community is there's some things they like about it, some things they don't, right? As is always going to be the case with literally any list. What I don't like is the idea that, hey, it's just for this event, and maybe in another event in the future, we'll have a list. Maybe we won't. If we do, it might be the same list. It might not. No one knows what to expect. If it was an announcement more along the lines of, hey, YCS Tier 2, whatever you want to call it, events moving forward, we'll have a list. This is the list for this event. The next Tier 2 event might have a different list, but there will be a list. I would feel better about that.
I agree with that. Knowing that you might go into an event and it'll have a list, and the next one it might be like, oh, back to normal speed duels for free. Like, right. Yeah, no, I definitely agree with that. I think if they're testing a list, there needs to be consistency, and they should definitely be transparent about, is every single YCS going to have one? Like, please let us know. And we have North America versus Latin America. It's weird.
Yeah.
There's also the issue of YCS is the only data they have for speed duels, right? I feel like they don't really get much from OTS stores, right? So they probably just don't even care about that. So YCS and Extravaganza is all they have to base things on. Because look, Konami barely probably does any testing for advanced. You really think they're going to do in-house play testing for speed duels? No, they're not. And they're also probably not going to even pay much attention to watching the game itself, right? I doubt the judges that were in our Discord rooms for the Extravaganza were actually paying attention and analyzing that card might be too good. No, they didn't care. Yeah, so this is just they looked at a bunch of deck lists. They're like, okay, let's just try this thing and then we'll change it as we need to. So they're basically using everyone who goes to Niagara as the testers in a way for the list.
Yeah, and you can kind of tell that too, because all the hits were either generic cards that were already on the advanced format FNL list, or just cards they've seen in every single speed duel deck, or just Metaverse to 3
for very good reasons. Yes.
Well, the Metaverse is probably just an advanced FNL list thing, right? Because isn't Metaverse at 1 in advanced, or is that not anymore? It was at some point.
I believe that is true with terraforming.
Okay.
Yeah, because field spells are very powerful. If you don't believe me, search Mystic Mine, and you'll see what I mean.
Yeah, so the way they implemented it of just being for this event only is odd. But I like it that they're doing this rather than doing nothing.
Yeah.
I like that they're saying, hey, we're at least paying a little attention. We're at least looking at the deck lists from Nats and Extrav, and we're saying these cards are topping too much. I don't think it's necessarily a bad thing that they're just like, let's just jam staples on it. That's fine. That forces you to think more when deck building. I can't just say, oh, I'm a 3DD Warrior Lady, 3 Breaker, 3 Book of Moon. I have to actually think, all right, which of these helps my strategy or goes against the meta the most? But yeah, with that said, I think we should actually go over the list so we can talk.
Yeah. So, and like on that whole thing, I just want to mention real quick about the idea of what you just said about them hitting all the staples at 3 isn't necessarily a bad thing. If this really is just a test list and it's going to influence a final official list, it really could be like, okay, let's put every staple to 3. What do we see the most of? Maybe that's what we want to put our focus towards.
But that's like the opposite of what you would expect, right? Like how I did my ban list tournament was like, let's try to be minimalist, right? And then we will add a couple of extra cards to the list if necessary. Konami took the complete opposite approach.
But see, Konami also doesn't have doesn't just be like, all right, you know what? Tomorrow I'm updating my list.
That's right. Yeah.
That's fair. They usually wait 3-6 months before we get a new list. But
Speed Duel's 3 years.
Yeah, the normal time frame for Speed Duel.
Yeah.
But that is, again, though, that is why I have that concern is like, damn, like if we just knew, all right, following YCS, there will be a list. Even if we don't know what the list is going to be, I would feel better about this kind of, this where it feel like some of the things feel obviously very good, right? Like I will say that the Parasite and Cocoon, you can only run 1 Parasite. That feels like good, right? We need Moth to take a hit. Zomoda 1, look, we'd rather it be banned, but I think it was very clear that they wanted to make a list with no forbidden cards, at least to start. So Zomoda 1, that's the most they were willing to do, right? Because they're not banning anything. So, okay, like these things are really good. And then for some of the other things, whether it be like the staples, like Breaker, DD Warrior Lady, then there's like Cosmic Metaverse. What is going on over there? You guys okay?
Yeah,
they're fine. Good. They're fine.
What did I?
Just shenanigans. Don't worry about it.
Okay, cool. So like those things, that approach of like, all right, sometimes we're just gonna, throw stuff at the wall and see what sticks, right? And like, I'd feel fine with that if it's like, okay, well, at least I know there will be a list next time. So either we have more time to adapt to it, or they might change the list, but we know there will be a list, and just that knowledge would make a difference.
Yeah.
Okay, look, here's my prediction as self-proclaimed god of speed duels. It's that there will be a list going forward, but there's things they don't know, such as what will be on the list and what style of list it will be. I feel like their first thought is whoever's on the current speed duel team, we'll call them Speed Duel Team GX, Generation Next. They are currently thinking like, hey, this is just Duel Links on paper, guys.
Right.
So let's just have it be as Duel Linksy as possible. But they might, in a couple of months, be like, okay, that's not actually feasible for a physical card game. We should just go with the type of list we do in other physical, or the only other physical format that exists. So that's probably another issue that they're like going through internally, I would think.
Would you, and admittedly, this is kind of repeating my point, but I'll phrase it this way. Would you feel better if they basically announced more or less that Speed Duel, the same as, regular TCG, has advanced format and traditional format? So like going forward, all, competitive events have an advanced format. There will be a list. That list might change. It might not be at the same cadence as, the regular TCG. It might change more frequently. But hey, all events going forward will be using advanced format. If your, OTS, whatever, wants to run traditional format, they can. If you want to play traditional formats with your friends, you can. But all competitive events going forward are going to be in advanced format for speed. Would you feel better if that was the announcement?
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, for sure. Clarity it's key here. That the confusion is kind of chaotic. But it kind of is what it is right now. but I think we will have a Duel Link style list. I do think that's what they're going with.
Yeah.
However, they usually have surveys when they do major changes like this. So at Niagara, they're probably going to have a survey during and after the event to say, hey, do you like the Duel Links list? Do you like the cards we chose for it? Do you like a list at all? And feedback's key here because a lot of the people playing in that event are competitive players. Not everyone, but
Is that the case? And it's a legitimate question. I'm not asking sarcastically. I'm asking seriously. But just because we've seen some real weird stuff come out of some of the last few YCSs, so like, are they actually mostly competitive?
I'm gonna carry the event. It's okay.
Yes, cursive has to give them the correct feedback,
Yeah.
which is, I mean, I don't want to speak for you here, but like, A, hit stall harder, right? B, make the list simpler, whether that's by making it a regular list, not dueling style, or by just having less clutter on it, right? Like unnecessary cards, and
Speaking of
you
clutter,
can tell them whatever you
I
think
know
that
Drake
is.
mentioned earlier about actually going over what's on the list. Should we hit that there now?
Yeah, let's do that.
yeah. Okay, so for anyone that doesn't know how the ban list or how the Duel Link style works, anything that is on the limited one, if you play a copy of it, you cannot play anything else on that list. So on the limited one, we have Jinzo, Rhoda, Foolish, and Zoma the Spirit. So if I were to play a Jinzo in my deck, I could not play Rhoda, Foolish, or Zoma in my main or side deck. And then Limited 2 works similarly, but you get 2 total copies in any combination. So on the Limited 2, we have Cocoon of Ultra Evolution, the skill. We have Parasite Paranoid, Allure of Darkness, Union Hanger, and Nightmare Wheel. So if I played 2 Nightmare Wheel, I could play nothing else on the list that is on the Limited 2. Or if I played a Wheel and an Allure, I could play nothing else on the list. And then there's a 3 section, which is probably the most contested section, but uh, 3 is Breaker, DD Warrior Lady, Book of Moon, Cosmic Cyclone, and Metaverse. So yeah, what do you guys think about the actual card choices and where they were placed?
Can I bring up a question real quick? I'm very curious about all your opinions. So when I first was going over the list, I seen the Cocoon Semi and Parasite Semi, and I was like, this is great. They limited Parasite. But going back to the whole clutter thing, who besides exactly Claudie is going to be playing 2 Parasite without Cocoon in some jank Moth build? Like, no one is going to be taking advantage of the fact that Parasite's at 2.
Nope.
So just remove the clutter.
That exactly. No, it doesn't make any sense. Just put Parasite at 1, and you can take Cocoon off the list. There's one less card on the list right there.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I don't know. It's not hard.
Yeah. That's a good question. I guess so. Maybe we can frame this kind of as what decks do we feel were most hurt / most helped by the list. I don't know if that's maybe a good way to look at it. So like Moth, obviously
abused.
Are you ready? Are you ready to declare Moth dead with 1 Parasite? Because I'm not.
I'm not either.
I'm definitely not calling it dead, but I mean, they definitely dropped its power.
Yeah.
I still think it's the best skill in the format, Cocoon.
Mm-hmm.
And it's just a matter of now, okay, if you only have 1 copy of a card in your deck that takes advantage of the first half of the skill, right? Because the second half of the skill is basically David draw 1, right? So you already have that. And then it's like, is that 1 card, which you can run searchers for, right? Whether that's Gokipon or Danipon.
Mm-hmm.
Is that 1 card good enough for you to still play the skill in some kind of a floater-heavy, insect deck? And that'll be the question that has to be answered here between now and, I assume October was when we'll get the next list. So between now and October, when the format changes one way or another, right? So,
and we can take it one step further because whether it's any good or not, I don't know. But there was even a person in SDL talking about playing more of, I think, just more of like a traditional burn deck or whatever, but just using that as like an engine for removal, right? Like it doesn't even have, the deck doesn't even have to be focused around it. It's just, hey, if I draw my 1 of, it's removal. Like I remove your monster and I get to draw a card. Pretty good.
Yeah. And it's not just that. You have to think about the fact that now it'll brick more, any deck that's running like Moth, especially, right? So you have to wonder if that'll force people to go, okay, if I draw my Moth or Moths plural before my one-of Parasite, that's almost always turns off Cocoon, at least temporarily. So do I want to just run Metal Armored Bug and Pinch Hopper or something like that instead? And that, I think that inherently lowers the power level of the deck because 3,500 is a pain to get past. Meanwhile, 2815, very low defense stat, is much more manageable in my opinion.
I mean, if they run the floaters like you mentioned before, they still can do the Cocoon play and just go into one of like the weenies.
Oh yeah, that's true.
Sure.
Yeah.
Yes, yeah. If they're playing like a burn style deck instead of how Moth normally plays, yeah, you don't even need a boss necessarily. You could literally say, "Hey, I'm going to tribute your guy that is a problem to me, and I'm gonna bring out Man Eater Bug."
Yeah.
Why not?
It's like, oh no, Jinzo, that counters my deck. Just kidding. Tribute it.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's like I definitely think like you need to be more aware of when's actually a good time to parasite, but it doesn't kill the skill or the deck by any means.
Again, and my opinion has always been, and you guys know this, but not everyone listening might, but my opinion has always been to just get rid of it for a while, right? Like give me 1 year where we don't have to see it, right?
Yeah.
Like that, for that and Zoma, it's probably a good transition to start talking about Zoma, if you want to. But like just those two cards, Parasite and Zoma, they've been around so much. We literally have a Zoma counter in something we do call the Speed Duel Master Circuit on stream, which is always funny. It always gets so high. But those cards have been around so much. Just give me a year, maybe a year and a half, where we just don't have to see those cards and don't have to worry about them. Because that every time you see those cards still, it makes the format feel stale, right? So
yeah, it always feels bad when like, you know, I mean, we know every once in a while, you know, a new player will join SDL Discord, right? And be like, hey guys, you know, I'm new to Speed. What's the best deck? And like for just years in a row now, whenever that happens, it's Moth. Moth is best deck. Yeah, and it's just like through how many different formats now, and it's just the answer is always it's Moth, play Moth. And yeah, it's hard to, because for a brand new player, they don't necessarily have the same burnout on the deck that we do, right? But after a while they will. When it's like, oh wow, this is everywhere. This is all I'm seeing. This is boring. Okay, bye. You know, like it's tough.
It is.
I mean, if you just look at the Extravaganza top card, wasn't it like Moth, Unions, Moth, Cyber Angels?
I think it was 5 out of 8 was Moth.
Yeah.
So
it was something absurd like that. Yeah, that's the biggest warning sign right there. Like, and it only lost to the next worst thing, which is Stallburn.
Yeah,
so
right.
Great.
Thanks, Lucas.
Right. For the all the Extravagance combined, the top 4s in the giant cards and the top 8 in the main event, there were 10 out of 20 decks that were Moth.
Yeah, literally half of the field was one deck. No problem.
Right.
Yeah, and I like to think of it as not just Moth, but do Moth plus Stallburn, since I think both of those are equally as annoying to play against. So like how much how big of a percentage is that? Like that's what I want to know.
So Stallburn wasn't exactly oppressive. If you count the rat box that topped, there were 4. If you count a Dragoon Burn, there were 5.
What? Who played Dragoon Burn? That's crazy.
But I mean, there were solidly 4 burn decks.
I think every deck that topped that was any of the 3 relevant decks this format is a unfair top that we don't want to see. You either got stalled, you got sacked by Parasite, or your opponent said, hey, I drew Jar, or you only set 1 back row, or you had no back row and I OTK'd you with Cyber Angels. It's never a fun situation.
No, that's fair.
All right, here's my question though. How far back do we have to go in Yu-Gi-Oh history to find a format that was not, I am trying to play a deck that is inherently unfair? Because I feel like that is just almost Yu-Gi-Oh's identity at this point.
See, I agree with that statement, but there's obviously issues in certain decks and certain deck styles that cause the game to be more unhealthy. Like no one enjoys being put in a stall match. No one enjoys being outright OTK'd. No one enjoys a deck that's been around for 2+ years.
Which tributes your monster and punishes you for literally summoning a monster face up, right? So it's not about the fact that there should never be unfair decks. It's that about what specifically makes it unfair, and that's the problem here.
In regards to that as well, too, a lot of people genuinely enjoyed Battle City format a lot. Obviously, it lasted way too long, but it was still a enjoyable format to play. This format is just sacky and like very unfun to play.
Yeah.
Right. Like, oh, they drew the Mind Crush. Oh, they drew the Paranoid. What do you do?
Yeah. I mean, I said it, and even I agree Battle City was more fun. It did last too long. It was still sometimes sacky then, though, right? Because like, oh, you know, if you didn't have an answer to it, it was like, oh, I see. Take your monster. Tribute for Jinzo. You know, yes, I win.
It was.
You know,
it was. Do you have Sphere? Yeah.
So like there was that, but like it was the problem as I saw it, and it was for IC and for Moth, is that the way those decks won was they punished your opponent for playing a monster.
Yeah.
You know, the most basic thing you could ever do in Yu-Gi-Oh! Put a monster on the field. And those decks said, oh, wow, you made a mistake, buddy. You put a monster on the field. Whew, well, guess I win. And that is just really unhealthy.
It's honestly a good argument to say, hey, let's just ban Paranoid for a while because you're rewarding set Giant Rat, set DD Warrior Lady.
Yeah, no, exactly.
And now you might have not been having fun against your Moth opponents, but now the people that are trying to counter Moth, you're also not having fun against them.
Right. Yeah, I think that's a great point.
It creates a wider problem than just, oh, I don't want to play against Moth. It creates kind of, oh, I don't want to play against this meta.
Yeah, I completely agree.
You know, it encourages a play style that overall just feels very like slow and dragged out. You know, it's not speed duels at all. It's more like you know, time duels or something.
What do you mean? When I play Cyber Angels, the game ends in an instant.
Right. One way or the other.
We need there has to be a middle ground here, right? Like where a game can take more than one or two turns, but you know, is not stall.
Well, I mean, if you don't mind, there's a good example. There's Unions, right? Which is part of what made Battle City so much fun. Is it's actually the middle ground deck where it's not going to kill you in one turn. And it's also not going to usually try to stall you out. Especially, it's never going to try to win by deck out or burn because it searches so much, it will kill itself by decking out. And it doesn't play burn cards. So it is the type of like mid-range or control deck, whatever you want to call it, that I think there needs to be more of in speed duels.
No, I agree. All right, so let's bring it to that point then. So on the list, Union Hanger at 2. Where do you think unions are now with that?
Someone with an educated opinion, please.
In our small sample size of one tournament, they seem to do okay, but ended up losing to Crystal Future. Is that right, Curseof?
Yeah, I mean, but they should, right? I mean,
they should. That's right. Yes.
Can't thrive in a format where their counter is like potentially
Enclave. Yes.
Yeah.
Because of the limited one list, they can't play their one Foolish and play Jinzo.
Yeah.
So right. You took a matchup where they're like, yeah, I can probably beat Crystal Beasts. I can probably do that. To like, wow, this is actually a pretty hard matchup. They can out my fusions with stuff I can't stop with Book of Moon. Right? So like if they Regeki break, I can't just I'm gonna chain Book of Moon, Crystal
Regeki.
Yeah. Close enough. If they go Conclave, I can't just chain Book of Moon. So they can out the fusions pretty well. And what I used to do is just like, I'm just gonna drop a Jinzo on them. It's like, well, I don't have Jinzo in my deck anymore. Yeah. So some people say that unions didn't get hit enough. I just don't think they needed to get hit more.
I think the hit that was justified was Scramble, because Scramble could be an unfair card, but I think hitting their consistency was
That's like Konami logic. They like Konami Konami loves to hit search cards. They love it. They're like, oh, surely if the deck is less
Surely.
if it's less consistent, then it's more fair. No, it's still just as broken when they draw the pieces.
Yeah,
They're just gonna draw
exactly.
them less. But yeah, no, I do agree that Scramble is the card to hit. That is the
Yeah,
unfair card in the deck. No, everything else in the deck's fair.
Exactly. I completely agree.
agreed.
No, Hanger is fine because it gets countered by, Book of Moon or Floodgate, which
Book of
both
Moon and
exist.
Floodgate, yeah,
Yeah.
and Floodgate's probably the new jam into every deck card.
Right.
Yeah.
now
Thanks,
that-
Konami. You missed a card.
And Dust Tornado, by the way. Like where
Right.
when you first activate Hanger, it gets dusted. Now you have nothing. You
Right,
just-
where
right,
if
so-
you were playing Cyclones in the main, you maybe to even probably just replace them with dusts.
Right.
Yeah.
Now.
So
Yeah,
I'm not on the boat of like, oh man, unions are better now, but I don't think they really got worse either. They're about where they were.
I think I'd agree.
Yeah, it's still like a solid tier 3-ish deck.
Yeah, like a high tier 3 deck,
Yeah.
something like that.
They're okay, but I feel like they have more bad matchups now, like we talked about, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Mhm.
So
All right, so let's go to the other end. What do we think is very good right now in this format?
Crystal Beasts.
Yeah.
hey, no, call it what it is. It's Crystal Future,
Oh, I'm
guys.
so sorry.
Unless
So
your name
what
is
if-
Lucas
Yes.
Gaylord. Right. So for those of you who aren't in the Speed Duel League Discord, join it, by the way. But
Please.
if you are, you've seen this flowchart posted several times at this point, where it says, "Are you Lucas Gaylord?" Yes, and this for Crystal Beasts. Yes, play energizing elements. No, play looking into the future.
You could apply the same flowchart to Burn as well.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
So-
Makes sense.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But
Okay.
yeah, I think Crystal Beast got a fairly big buff from the Jinzona one.
Yes.
And them just not getting necessarily blown out.
Yeah.
In general. So like the less decks that can like OTK them, the stronger they are because they want to grind a bit.
Right. Because look,
Yeah.
Conclave is good, Pegasus is good, and Regeki is good. That's a 9. That's pretty much half your deck that is really good cards.
Yeah.
Without you even having to dip into staples at all. Right.
Yeah. The Crystal Beasts, as we have them, are actually a really good example of a control deck. Not a stall deck, but a control deck.
I love control.
And it really is.
Me too.
Yeah. A healthier control deck, right?
Right.
That doesn't use Zomas and
Sure.
Well,
There's those almost here.
It plays one Zoma, which is, whatever. Like if Zoma was on ban, as it should be, in our opinions, I think, then it would, find something else to play instead.
It would have no
Whatever.
issue. Like there'd be no issue replacing the Zoma. It's just
Right.
it's there.
It's
Yeah.
there, so play it. Yeah.
We don't want Jinzo shutting down all of our back row.
But that is
Right.
kind of a nice thing about the dueling style list, where if these were all actually limited to one, you could still just jam them all in your deck.
Yeah, I agree.
I do think Zoma should be banned, but again, you can't be like, well, I'm still on Zoma, Jinzo, Rhoda Foolish, because they're all legal. When I draw them, they're good. It's only a 20 card deck.
Yeah, I think that's
But
easy to
that
work
is the
sometimes,
benefit of
too,
it, for sure. Like,
consistency.
I mean, I guess this is a good time to bring up, like, I would move Nightmare Wheel from 2 to 1.
Mhm.
Just to say, you know what, you want to play Burn? All right, you pick one of these 2 broken Burn traps. You don't get 3 copies of them combined. You don't.
Yeah, I'd be on board with that for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think that they may have overlooked, but at least Nightmare Wheel is on the 2 at all.
Yeah,
Yeah.
better
But,
than being untouched for sure.
But yeah, you basically took 6 copies of burn cards and reduced it down to 3.
Yeah.
But you also put Jinzo down to 1, which
Yeah.
isn't the same as being limited to 1, because it means some people just won't be on Jinzo anymore.
Yeah.
So
How do we think Burn is looking in this format?
about where it was.
Well, I mean, Warrior
2-2.
Burn is
Oh
dead.
yeah, no.
Yeah,
But like Giant Wrap,
Yeah, I mean,
right.
Burn
Rat
had so
box.
many variants, right? Burn has no issue being like, oh, well, that one's dead. Good thing we have like 7 others.
Right.
Yeah, exactly. But there's one specific burn deck that's not quite a burn deck. It does
Not
actually
a burn
attack.
deck.
That's and that you might want to talk about as going back to our what decks do you think are good? So
Best
Chris have
deck.
talked about his deck, but
Raging
Justice,
Cat.
what's your ban list
More
deck?
Crystal Beasts.
Raging
More
Cat.
Crystal
Just don't play against Crystal Beasts. Yeah, no, Raging Cat I think is actually really good in this format. The first tournament that we had, which was yesterday? I lose track. Yeah, yesterday. First tournament we had with the official ban list, I won it with Raging Cat, although honestly, if curseof hadn't had to drop out due to having to leave early, I probably wouldn't have won it, because I think straight Crystal Beasts beat Raging Cat, but I think Raging Cat beats pretty much everything else. Yeah, it's a direct attack deck using Amethyst Cat and Raging Flame Sprite. And yes, you have some like they're not even like stall tools in the same way of just, hey, I'm gonna deck you out and like gain a ton of life points with Ladybug. Like that's what stall like really is, right? That's what they're doing. And it's not doing that. It's just using cards to protect your monsters because your monsters are your win condition. So it's not like a traditional stall burn in that sense. Like you're not counting a Nightmare Wheel burn. Like, yeah, you still run the 2 because again, they're cards that can protect your monsters. And you need to do that. But you're also running like Wabaku, right? Because you need to protect your monsters. Like this is what you're doing. You're running the floodgates because you need to protect your monsters, and you don't care if they're monster zones are taken up because you don't have to deal with the monsters after you floodgate them. You're attacking directly. It's great. But you are still attacking. You are trying to play aggressively while protecting your monsters. That's what the deck does. So I do think it's a healthier version of what people you normally call like burn / stall. And no, I mean, it is not a burn deck because I'm not trying to win with effect damage. I'm not trying to win by stalling you out. I'm trying to win by attacking with my monsters, as you do. Just directly.
Always.
Exactly.
No, I think that's actually healthier for a lot of reasons because for one, like you said, you're trying to attack. So now things that weren't good against normal burn, Book of Moon,
Wall of D,
Wall of Disruption, Widespread Ruin, possibly. These are actual counters to your deck.
Right.
But then also attacking your monster is a counter to your deck, which attacking a giant rat or a Zombina, a new Doria, not exactly a counter.
Good job.
Yeah.
Yeah, encouraging battle phases rather than just main phase to end phase. Thank you for that.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's a very necessary thing.
So I think it's a way healthier deck for sure. Yeah, it is pretty good right now, I think.
But then there's a third deck. But why not? We'll just go in order here. Second place deck from yesterday's tournament, which Strike played.
I think it is playable. Beatdown.
Beatdown squared.
I don't think it's on the level of Crystal Beast. Just
Probably
because
not.
it doesn't have enough tools yet, right? So your idea is you're trying to summon a Cyber Dragons and Charging Gaias, make them super big, and win every battle phase. Right. That's pretty much the deck. It's cool, but it runs out of resources, and it really wanted a lot of those limited 3 cards. So like it would want to run, for instance,
fair. Yeah.
Like if it could, it would probably run 3 DD Warrior Lady, 3 Book, 3 Breaker, just like a lot of decks would.
Yeah.
Right.
Yes.
But yeah, no, it's definitely something to maybe like maybe I'll try that out. See if I can improve it. Because like the list we came up with is fine.
I would call it a rough draft list, a first draft list.
Yeah.
There's probably still optimization that can be done, taking the limited list into account.
Mm-hmm.
And we can't talk about Beatdown Squared without shouting out Nightblader.
Yes,
also
the
member
creator
of the team
of the
who came
deck.
up with the
Who's
deck.
that?
Don't see him here anywhere.
All right, get ready for the comments.
Yeah.
Yes, I know.
Yeah, I'm ready.
All right, so
like, what do you mean? Who is that? Yeah.
Next topic we have is maybe not as in depth, but still interesting. The Extrav that was 3-4 weeks ago now. Mm-hmm. Just going over what topped that. So 10 Moths out of 20 decks, 3 Cyber Angels, 3 Normal Burn and a Rat Box, or Warrior Burn and a Rat Box, a Dragoon Burn.
Wait, no.
A Dragoon Turbo, and a single unions. That is what topped. So yeah, completely dominated by Moth, and then about 25% after that was Burn. Interesting thing about this event was we had a few rulings that we're not used to playing with. If you play,
Before we continue, can I just have a little bit of fun real quick?
sure.
What?
Terramaster, what was your record in Extravaganza?
42 and dropped in main event. In Giant Card, I think I went first round exit and second round exit. So yeah, there you go.
What a good.
That's
I did play you in one of them.
Yeah, well, that one wasn't really a loss, right? That was just me allowing you to proceed by intentionally drawing bad cards. Yeah.
That was the game where I had double Moth in hand.
Yeah,
and I go, I'm gonna paranoid your guy, and you're like, sure, and I'm like, man eater bug.
Oh yeah, that was when you got to use man eater bug like 3 times because I was way too slow in killing you. Yeah.
I booked it 3 times.
Yeah.
So
guys, this was there was Zoma on the field, and I think I couldn't attack into it or something. So like this, I mean, it was just like a perfect demonstration of what's wrong with Yu-Gi-Oh! We're like, oh, Zoma on the field. I guess I just have to chill until my opponent gets it out to my perfectly normal control deck. Yeah.
That's great.
But yeah, we can continue now. I just wanted to do that.
I mean, we can talk about how we each did real quick. I think that's fun because I think everyone besides Terramaster has something to talk about here.
You already got me out of the way. So
I mean, I'll take it. So day 1, got top 8 with Raging Cat. This is of course non-van list, so yeah, let's go. Day 2, second place with Dragoon Burn. Do it. Main event did not go well, but I did something that I knew I shouldn't, but I did it anyway. I played a deck that was kind of untested, and it was more based on theory. It just didn't work out, so I went like X3 or something like that. But overall, day 1, day 2, good results.
I don't remember how I did day 1. Day 2, I got 3rd place. I think I got DC'd versus you, which was fun.
You got a game loss.
Yeah.
From the disconnect. 3, yeah. Which
like game 2, the one where I disconnected, was like the most interesting game.
Yes,
like it was such a cool game state. I didn't know where it was gonna go, and then Discord said you're gone, and I was like, okay.
Yeah.
And then
I fought for you too. I was like, no, it's cool. I'm fine with it. Like, just let. And they're like, no, we can't, which sucked.
And then
it's a friendly.
Mm-hmm. It's friendly. We're just for fun, guys. Come on. But yeah, and then day 3, somehow lost to Raging Cat. And then got a disconnect again. Then entered Giant Card and got a disconnect again.
I love disconnects.
For day 1, I played Moth. Just completely normal, boring Moth.
Generic.
It was about as standard as it could be. And I got 3rd in the Giant Card, I think. And then day 2, I think I lost in like top, not relevant, top 16 or top 8 to another Moth player. And then day 3, I didn't submit a deck list to main event, so I played in the Giant Card, and I got second in that. I lost to Moth.
There you go.
Yeah. Yeah, so I have a fun little game here that I'm gonna ask you. I'm gonna ask you all a few questions, and you have to tell me if I'm making this up or if this was real.
Oh, I love it.
Game show, and you get the game show.
Nice.
That's right.
It really has game show created.
All right, so cursive. Was there a Moth deck that mained Goki pawns that topped the event?
Yes.
Yes, that is true. Was there a Moth deck that cited black Brachios?
Yes. This is unfair. I made the deck list for Speed Duel League.
No.
Well, you're not going to get all the questions. Was there a Moth deck that ran 2 Paranoids?
Yes.
Yeah, I knew that one.
Yep. Was there a Union deck that ran 2 Ys?
Oh, I gotta think. The Union deck. Oh man, I was so distracted by all the Moth anomalies. Sure, I'll say yes.
Yes.
Okay.
All right, Justice.
Just
Was there
yes.
a moth deck that cited Twister?
God, that topped.
Yes, these are all top 4 Extrav or top 8 main event, or I'm making them up.
I'm just gonna say yes because I think Moth can side anything. It doesn't matter.
Yes, there was a moth deck that cited Twister.
Yep.
Was there a moth deck that only played one moth?
I want to say no. I'm gonna go with no.
There was.
Okay, so it's literally yes to everything. This game is
Yeah,
rigged.
the answers are all yes. If this was like a true false test,
I knew the 2 paranoids. I saw that, but I didn't
Was there a moth deck that didn't play DD Warrior Lady?
Yes.
Yeah, those 3 questions were all the same deck.
Okay, nice.
Oh.
And was there a burn deck that played no Zoma?
There's no way. No, I'm gonna go with no.
Yeah, it won.
Yeah, it won. It won.
It actually,
first day, right?
Wait, with no Zoma?
It topped
Warrior Burn.
It topped 2 times.
Yeah,
with no Zoma.
Third and first.
Oh, jeez.
Mm-hmm.
Oh,
yeah, you guys.
Wait, there's the guy that beat me in day 2. The guy that won day 2.
He beat. Did he beat you, Drake? I know he beat me, Justice, and Terramaster.
No, I beat him day 1 to get third.
There he had no Zomas in there. I don't remember that.
No Zomas.
No Zomas, and any of the days.
I hope we all feel worse about ourselves now. Let's continue.
He just didn't own them. And all right, these are for Terra. Was there a Dragoon deck that played Kaiku?
Yes.
Yeah. Oh,
I might have lost to it.
These questions, these final questions they make no sense because they're just about my deck list.
Of course. Yeah. Just ask the god the tough questions. No big deal.
So yeah, I shouldn't have asked these to you because you obviously know these answers. Was there a moth deck that played Cyber Dragon?
Oh yeah, there was. Someone asked me for help with that one. Yeah.
Yeah, and what about Sphere Karibo?
Yes. Yeah, I might have actually suggested that. It's crazy.
And what about one that cited Kaiser Glider?
Cited what?
Kaiser Glider?
Oh yeah, yes. I might have actually recommended against that. Yes.
That probably would have helped if I didn't play that.
This wasn't a game show. This was just Drake list.
Just say yes.
Anomalies in the extravaganza.
The answers are all yes. They always have.
All right, I want to submit that we do this again on episode 2 with something, but
with
like
yeses
not.
And no's?
Yeah.
Yeah. No, I just thought it was funny.
Oh, it is funny. Yeah.
Should Tetra be banned from Speed Duel League? Yes.
But
the community thinks so.
But I realized when I got to the last 4 questions that Terra 100% knew the answers.
Oh,
that's
because he helped me with those weird texts. So, all right.
But Dragon Knight, it was your idea. I agreed with Sphere Karibo. I said try Sphere Karibo. You said Kaiser Glider. I was like, I don't know about that one, but okay.
Look, the theory was it's great against Jinzo and it's good against Dragoon, and I didn't even face either of those. I just faced a bunch of Moth and CA that day. So
yeah, I mean, surely it's good against Izana, right? You bounce Izana.
I cited in the Kaiser Glider against Burn just to have a monster to tribute.
I can't believe that in main event. I think it was main event. Maybe it wasn't. I don't know. There was one event that Ursus just went round 1 CA mirror, round 2 CA mirror, round 3
right.
CA mirror.
Yeah.
Just win the die roll.
I think that was main event. Yeah.
Worst mirror.
It truly is the worst mirror.
And it was like the same exact mains too, because most people that play Cyber Angels just copy Ursus list.
Yeah.
I don't.
Well, he said most.
This is true.
I think your list is better.
Yeah, I like your list.
Calling out Ursus.
They both have their advantages and disadvantages for sure. Depends on the matchup, I think.
Mm-hmm.
But I think that's it for the Extrav talk. Unless anybody has anything to add.
Fair enough. Yeah, no. Extrav, that's old news. Boring.
Yeah, we look forward to the next one in December. It's like I said,
With
after the tournament. Yeah, it's like I said after the tournament yesterday, like with the list potentially changing between now and December, plus having 100 new cards in the card pool, the next extra will 100% be more exciting than the last one.
Right. Yeah.
So, yeah.
100 is
A big
very
number.
optimistic of you.
99. How about that? There you go.
Oh,
99.
okay, yeah. Surely we'll get no elemental heroes or Rhodas reprint
No polymerization
God.
for sure.
or polymerization.
Yeah, definitely.
But
All
yeah,
that.
no, a lot of new cards, which will be nice. So next is just tier list. After seeing the results from the Extrav and the Winnabox, the last Winnabox, which Curseof won with Cyber Angels, Moth got second. Dragoon Burn got third. That was Justice, I believe. And Volcanic Burn got fourth. That was Blaze. Yeah, what would you put for?
I would say that tier 1 is Judgment Gaming.
Yeah, that's what I'm talking about. No, are we the best speed duel team now? Like, okay, you guys all win, okay, and I like host everything.
And you are God.
Like, I think we're basically the best speed duel team now.
If we're
Like,
going
there's-
off of
opinion.
results over the last, I'm gonna say, I don't know, couple months, then like just objectively, we have the most results.
Yeah,
right? Like,
Recently,
yes. Historically, obviously no, but you can't really.
Yeah.
Historically is what it is, right? But yeah, over the last like couple months, like we've put out more results than any other team. So
This is the first format I've played good decks.
Yeah.
And also, I just want to make this very known, by the way, going back to Terramaster and his god status. Volcanic Burn does not exist without Terramaster.
Well, neither does Raging Cat, but I
Sure.
just want to
that is
Okay.
true.
point that out
I
as
can
well.
confirm.
Yeah.
Carrying-
Neither does Sphere
carrying
Karibo and Moth.
Just as important.
we can skip that one. No, it was good, but it could have been a different card.
Yeah. So if we want to throw out actual deck tier lists, I mean, Moth tier 1 is Moth, right? I think we're
Easy.
Yes.
good on
Yes,
that, and then
absolutely.
everything else isn't. So tier 2 like is Burn and Burn variants, right?
Yes. So, like,
which
yeah,
I am
Dragoon
now
Burn is in
officially
there.
declaring Dragoon Burn as part of tier 2. Like I
Agreed.
It's a
Sure.
variant.
yeah,
It's a variant.
it is.
Yeah.
Rampart Burn in tier 2.
Sure.
So
Yeah.
by burn variants, we mean mainly Ratbox, Warrior Burn, and Dragoon Burn.
Yes,
Yeah.
which is weird though because Ratbox does
Maybe
feel a
Cat.
step up over Warrior Burn. So it's
Okay,
like
okay.
top of tier 2 is like Ratbox, then Dragoon Burn, then Warrior Burn. I would say personally, a little biased, but that's my.
I'm combining
just-
them all together.
I just want to let you guys know that Volcanic Burn has the exact same amount of tops as Ratbox Burn.
How did we
okay.
forget Volcanic Burn? You guys are
Oh,
so
true.
disrespectful.
True.
We literally have the reigning champion here who
well not with
had
that
that deck. Yeah.
All right, yeah. So I'm gonna say good burn variants. We're not putting Rampart Burn in there,
Alright,
but
fair.
good burn variants turn tier 2. I'm gonna actually Cursive. Go ahead, as guy who just won Winnabox with Cyber Angels. Where are Cyber Angels?
CAs are tier 2.
Yes, they have moved up. I did not think they were tier 2 before Extrav, but the results in Extrav plus the last 2 Winnaboxes, which were both won by Cyber Angels, right?
They
Because it
were.
was
Yeah,
it was
it was
Ursus
Ursus one.
before you.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
I'm
yes,
down
they're
with that.
absolutely tier 2 at this point.
I think the numbers they're putting up
20
despite-
card variant.
Well, despite people playing Mind Crushes in the sideboard, I think the number they're putting up, says they're at least to the bottom of tier 2. I don't think they need to be tier 3.
I agree.
No.
Yeah, no.
I
I mean, with 2 Winnabox wins back to back, I think it's pretty hard. to call
So
it tier
the
2.
only real anomalies we're looking at here is one Unions, the last 24 tops,
Yeah, I'd call that tier 3.
top of tier 3-ish.
Yeah, I think Unions are tier 3 right now.
I'm not even going to tier it, honestly. Like
Really?
Yeah, I don't know. I feel like tier 3 might be like empty tier.
It's hard. Well, all right. So maybe it's good to give a description of what the tiers are. Yeah. So these are like my personal ideas for the tiers. Again, tell me if you guys agree or disagree if you want to define them differently. But tier 1 is, the most competitive decks, like the decks that you're going to see the most of in topping tournaments, the decks that are most likely to be topping or winning tournaments, just the best decks of the format, right? That's tier 1. Tier 2 is a step below Tier 1, but still capable of competing against the best decks in the format. Don't just auto lose to Tier 1 decks that are still capable of topping tournaments, but you're probably going to see less of compared to Tier 1. And then Tier 3 is not impossible to win with against higher tier decks, but your deck is clearly disadvantaged in some way, whether it be due to matchups, due to consistency, whatever it might be. Your deck has a deficiency, putting it below the other decks, but hey, maybe still could, top a tournament. That's how I'm looking at tiers 1, 2, and 3. That's how I would personally define them. Do you guys want to adjust that in any way?
I mean,
sounds fine.
if you remember Duel Links meta, that's kind of the definitions that have been stuck in my head, right? Like it was very loosely defined. Like tier 1 would be you are almost guaranteed seeing it in a competitive tournament top cut.
Moth has never not topped this format except for one giant card.
Exactly. And then tier 2 would be you are likely to see it in a top cut, right? So that's perfect for Ratbox or Dragoon Burn or Volcanic Burn, right? And then tier 3 is you might see it in a top cut. Like it's good enough to make it, but you have to have some luck along the way in matchups and stuff. Plus, you also have to have a very good player piloting it. And I think that's what Unions is like exactly, maybe.
Right. So that's why I'm saying I think tier 3 is reasonable for it. Because I think that is the category it fits in. It's going to be harder to top with it compared to tier 1 and tier 2, but not impossible.
Not impossible. Yeah, I agree. Yeah, okay.
So while we're on this topic then, Relinquished?
Burned in hell? Was that
I think,
an acceptable tier? Or?
I think Relinquished is a fluke when it topped.
Twice?
It won.
Twice.
Well, it won and topped?
Yes. If you look at the bracket that it won and you follow the matchups it had, there's no wonder it won. It didn't have to go against Moth and Top Cut.
Yeah. Also, I played when it won it. Like I played against it, and I mean, you saw when you saw the replay, the draws were just like absurd, multiple turns in a row. Where like I was in a position to win, and it was just literally perfect draw after perfect draw. Like could not have stacked the deck better. Which like I'm not to take away from Arieldar, who's the one that won with it, but it's like, is it going to happen if you replay that top 8 10 times? How many times is it going to win? And I think we found the one time that it was going to win, and the other 9 times it probably doesn't. So I don't know, but it's hard. But it did win. So like we live in the reality where it did. So yeah, I mean, I think it's a reasonable question to ask. I don't think Curseof's like out of line for bringing it up. Like I think it's a question worth asking, but I don't know.
No, it kind of comes down to what is the difference between tier 3 and rank? Because
I think that's more so my issue.
I could easily say that it is a tier 3 deck that is lower than Unions. Or I could call it Rogue.
Yeah. I guess, is this where like representation comes into play too?
Yes. That's right.
Unions is also barely
represented.
Yeah.
And which is
that's
hard.
one thing we probably forgot in our definitions is the deck also needs to actually be represented. So one entry per tournament out of what we had 65 plus in both of those winner boxes. Like that's to me, that's not good enough, right?
Yeah, and I mean like another issue too is like talking about like Crystal Beast in this format, right? Where like Crystal Beast is either not represented or every time I've seen it besides exactly Clown Lords, this last winner box, which he got top 8 with, it's been like a weird rainbow dragon variant. Which we all can agree is not good.
Right, yeah, for sure.
Nope. Future Fusion and Crystal Beast.
All right, so what's your argument? Is your argument that Unions are tier 3, or is your argument that there is no tier 3 and everything that's not tier 1 or 2 is Rogue?
I feel like it's Rogue, but that's my personal opinion. I can see, the movements either way, and I think irregardless, we all agree that everything below CAs and Burn is like meh.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, everything, yeah. I mean, Unions gives you a chance against, say, Moth, or Burn, if that's your matchup, but it will lose to CA, right? And just a chance against 2 out of the top 3, which I believe is against Moth less than a 50% chance, right? Against Burn, it could be 50-50. So, like, if your best matchup against any of the top 3 decks is 50-50, then I don't know if you deserve to be on the list.
I think all Unions really has going for it is it doesn't have any terrible matchups. That's not a reason to play a deck.
Right.
I'm just saying that there's nothing that's like, oh, no, I have to face this. Even Dragoon, I guess, would be its worst matchup.
Mm-hmm.
Like Dragoon's not real. Don't worry about it.
It's the same way you beat Dragoon in any other deck, right? You just book it, floodgate it, defusion it more than they can out those.
Right.
Right.
And this is where I want to point out Dragoon Burn, tier 2. Dragoon Turbo, Rogue, the deck is terrible. And again, I've said this, I'm going to say it again, I'm going to keep yelling it from the mountaintops until people get it. Dragoon Turbo is a terrible deck.
Yes, it is.
It has no backup plan, and that's
and even its primary plan,
it
can only do like maybe 60% of the time, if that. Like its primary plan fails plenty of the time. Even when it goes off, it's not good.
I feel like in Dragoon Burn, Dragoon kinda is the backup plan.
Yes.
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 So it's a pretty powerful backup plan, but it's not a good enough main plan.
Exactly.
It's a Dragoon.
Hey, and curseof, I guess you could say Dragoon Turbo is not viable.
No. My great defeat. Nobody go watch that video.
But that'll be fun to do again soon.
Oh, I can't wait.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, Dragoon is like easily Rogue. Like if you get your proper matchups and really good draws, you can, like, it's a deck that can make a top cut run, but it's not very likely to.
Extremely unlikely. You have to have
Swiss, I don't
very good luck.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's what I mean. Like a Swiss tournament, I don't see it doing anything.
Yeah,
it won't.
It somehow did, but
it's a deck in Swiss. You would expect it to go 3 and 3.
You also have to think like a lot more people are entering with Dragoon than with something like Unions or Crystal Beasts.
Mm-hmm.
So like one of them could get lucky.
They all just get mirror matches until they're like 4-0, and then
surely this is how it will work. It's another thing that Dragoon is easy to pilot, right? Because the representation thing I've noticed in this community, a lot of it comes down to how easy a deck is to pilot.
Mm-hmm.
That's a good point.
Yes. Moth, easy to play, so high representation. Other than the fact that it's the best deck.
We got to talk about Spellproof.
Yeah, I thought about that. Yeah.
Easy to pilot.
Yeah.
Easy to pilot, and it sees a lot of representation despite not topping results all that much.
It sees a lot of representation with no results.
I mean, it has a second.
When you say not topping all that much, you mean basically nothing.
Yeah.
I mean, it has one winner box with two, top 8 and top.
Oh, yeah, a little while back, yeah.
I mean, it got one top 16. It got one in top 16.
Yeah, I mean, I'm thinking more over the last couple winner boxes plus Extrav is kind of what I'm looking at.
Yeah, that's what I was going off of. And there's no Spellproof.
And that was even with Extravaganza helping out Spellproof with, Soul Exchange being the uncounterable god card.
Literally gave them the biggest buff.
Yeah.
And they did nothing.
Yeah.
Yeah. They did literally nothing. They won me a mat, so they did something.
There you go.
They did probably win some people mats because you just
have
to Rio to get a mat.
They won me mats.
Yeah.
Cyber Angels runs into Spellproof. Let's
go. Right. That's the other thing about Spellproof. I would definitely put them on Rogue.
Oh yeah, for sure.
But that's the other thing about them, right? So they're built to be like, oh, I have a pretty good matchup against Moth. Well, it's 50-50. Maybe you could argue that it's 50 in Spellproof's favor, but that's
I would say.
And that's the deck it's built to beat. And Burn, same thing. It's probably 55-45 against Burn, maybe.
Very variant dependent, we'll say.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It is slightly Spellproof favored, but not unwinnable by any means.
Right. Yeah, exactly.
The worst part is now Moth is starting to adapt. We saw Renzo's list from top 2 in last winner box actually playing that Maneater bug.
Everyone's on bug now. No, straight up. Bug is the new tech.
Yeah. So that's the anti-SPA tech.
So we were, us Moth players. There's that one slot, right? If you are maining 2 Cyclones, that's 19 coverage already. So there's one slot, and people are like, okay, do I want 1 Rhoda, Do I want one wall, one nobleman? I think the best piece of technology is just
technology.
No, seriously, it's the best turn 1 out of any of those cards. Like, and if you're in a mirror or against spellproof or whatever you're against, just literally set bug turn 1. It's amazing because they either attack into it, you're fine, you get to shuffle it back in and draw. They soul exchange it, okay, they don't get a battle phase that turn, you get to shuffle it in and draw. Like, almost nothing can go wrong unless they're maining noblemen, in which case they would have hit whatever you set. So
yeah.
There's also like the hey, it's knock is better against rat, right? But bug is good against rat
the mirror. But bug is better against the mirror.
Yes.
Right. Yeah. Plus, and it's not bad against rat. You flip it, you pop a rat. Right.
Right. But you could argue that it also gives you something to do with your books in that.
That's right.
Game
That's
1.
right.
Yeah. True.
And versus
But yeah, you could make an argument. I mean, looking at tournament results and say, "Wow, I'm playing Moth. The thing I should focus on is the mirror." So that's probably why people are playing Maneater Bug.
Yeah, no, it makes sense.
Yeah, for sure.
All right, here's a weird question.
That's probably why Cosmic is played as well.
Oh, it's a big part of it. Here's a weird question: have we ever seen any other skill in Speed Duel that we can look at and say this is just objectively unhealthy and broken as spellproof without it actually being part of a good deck?
No.
So to being part of a good deck.
Like, isn't that crazy? Like, we could look at spellproof and be like, this card is stupid and never should have been printed, but there also isn't a good deck around it.
I mean, not anything around the level of Cocoon, but there was Lucky Day.
Look, it's going to get worse. Spellproof is going to get worse. You've seen it escalating. If you guys agree with this, where when we had Pendulum Machine, it was garbage.
The good old days.
Then we got Jinzo, it got slightly better. We got
playable.
Yeah, we got Colossalus, then it became like decent Rogue. Now we got Cyber Dragon, and it's like creeping up where it's like close to like escaping Rogue, but not quite there yet.
Yeah.
And it's very close.
Do you remember the good old days when we were playing Drillago in Spellproof?
Drillago,
dude, Drilly boy.
So speaking of drills, we may get a drill roll.
Okay. Oh wow, that was a hell of a segue.
What a transition.
Nice. A+ moderation right there.
I'm in shock.
This is why Drake is the producer, guys.
But no, for real. The power creep thing on Spellproof, it's always going to be there if they don't change some wording on it. Because we are likely to get a bunch of Roids in the next set. And Drill Roid is actually a pretty good card, honestly.
Oh, you have a problem with your opponent setting monster passing? Fear no more. Summon Drill Roid, attack.
I mean, this doesn't trigger Giant Rat, DD Warrior Lady, or Maneater Bug. Nice. And 16, so it can get booked.
Hold on, you forgot one. It doesn't trigger Absorbing Shard.
I mean, it's honestly the power creep that we're talking about, right?
Yeah.
You can protect it with things that you could normally protect it with, like your Book of Moons and your Floodgates and stuff.
Yeah.
I need to look. We have Sasuke Samurai right now, right?
We do.
Yeah. So it's funny, like the stat difference matters, right? Like,
it does.
Oh yeah, 100%.
Oh, it has 2 good stats. That's the other thing about it.
Is defense 16 as well?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, that's great. I love that. Yeah.
Breaker, this counterless breaker will never get over me. Fool.
You could set it.
Yeah.
If that's what you got to do.
Yeah.
Or if it gets floodgated, that's a more realistic thing. Breaker still doesn't attack over it, or DD Warrior Lady's got to banish. Like, okay, cool. You just use the floodgate and a DD Warrior Lady
on Drill Roid.
Yeah.
Okay.
Right. Yeah.
Thanks, Cyrus.
Between having 2 1600 stats and a honestly very good effect, that's power creep right there. And that's not talking about any of the other Roids that could be in it that might not matter for spellproof, but they might.
And that's really good. Like, that's a good example of power creep. to me. Like that's like power creep without giving you something inherently unfair. Like it gives
Yeah.
you an answer to some of the biggest issues in the current format without giving you something broken like BLS Envoy of the Beginning, right?
BLS.
So
CED
But I
confirmed.
love BLS.
All
On
right,
errata,
so
just to be on the safe side.
we are getting some new sets. So let's start
Are
with
we?
Whoa!
we're actually getting 3 new sets. Only 2 of them have new cards in them. So the next one we're getting is Speed Duel Tournament Pack 4. This comes out September 28th, so 6 weeks. What we know about it is ultra rare Old Vindictive, ultra rare Mind Crush, super rare Breaker, super rare Newdoria, and then we also get common Nobleman of Crossart reprint, Book of Life, and Champion's Vigilance. So,
Just watching Curse's reaction to these.
so is anybody excited just based off of what we know is in it? And then also, what's a card you want to see in it? A reprint, Tara.
Please. I want a rarity buff to my CAs, and that's all.
Honestly, I would
Okay,
I would
with
like
that
to see
said,
that.
I don't think we're getting any GX cards in it based on how they've
but-
printed the first 3.
Let me cope.
But yeah, if that's your pick, totally. Machine Angel Ritual, super.
That's all I got.
Izana. I actually can't believe Izana didn't get a secret rare print in the GX box. To be honest.
True.
yeah, that is
Yeah.
actually absurd. Like why
A
would
literal crime.
Because we needed
truly is.
Sphere for some reason.
Yeah, like we already have ultra rare sphere, but we needed
Horrendous
that.
Magician.
Oh,
Yeah, Horrendous Magician. Yeah.
I pulled 3 of those.
It's so random and garbage. Yeah, I don't understand that one at all.
there were some cool inclusions, but yeah, there was also Apprentice Magician and Sphere instead of new cards that we don't have foil and speed duels.
Can we stop reprinting Sphere Karibo? Like,
Yeah, that's enough Sphere Karibo.
I don't know. Do we have a super rare Sphere Karibo right now?
I think we're getting more Sphere Karibo prints. Just
Super rare Sphere
one
Karibo
person
incoming.
Played it.
Starlight Rare
know,
Sphere
yeah,
Karibo.
Starlight. Oh god.
Starlight Rare. Ghost Rare Sphere Karibo. Exclusive to Speed.
I want a ghost.
You know what? I love ghost rares. I would take.
Me
I would
too.
Take that.
I take anything. Give me a ghost rare.
Yeah.
Give me a Ghost Rare Plasma, dude.
Justice, do you have a pick that you'd like to see?
We're excluding GX box.
Yeah, I don't think that's realistic.
Literally only plays GX cards in current decks. I'm like thinking about what I'm currently playing. I'm playing like Dragoon Burn. I'm playing Raging Cat. These are GX decks. You know what? No, there is already an ultra rare printing of Moth. Never mind.
There is. I already got a TP reprint.
God, no, it's hard. I want GX cards. I want.
Ooh.
Yeah, like no non-GX.
Okay,
It's tough for me.
Can I suggest one for you?
Sure.
Wabaku.
Sure, I'd take that.
Yo,
I like it.
yes.
No, you know what? That's a good
Also,
one. That's a good one. I
Never
like it.
been foil in TCG.
Okay. No, yep. No, that's a great one.
20-year-old card.
That's a great one. Let's do it. Yeah, foil Wabaku would be sick.
Tara?
All those Yugi Kaiba players.
I would actually super
I'm
rare.
thinking,
I would
like,
take
are
super.
there-
Would be amazing, actually.
Are there any old cards that I actually like in Speed Duels?
Give us Karyushin.
Shit. No, I'm not as much into water as some people.
That would probably be very expensive. Though.
You're not
Probably
part of the Umi gang.
It's true. Yeah. Yeah, you know what? Give me Gap or Hades because I think those are still cool cards. Give me those in Ultra or Super.
Oh, we
You
don't
want
have
Ultra Hades 'cause
a.
we have it.
What is it?
Oh, we do.
Yeah,
do we have?
Gap, we don't have Gap.
Yeah,
All
I was about to
Hades
say. I
has-
thought we had a.
Give me
Was
Ultra
Hades in
Gap.
TP3?
Mhm.
Yeah.
Give me Ultra Gap then. That would be cool.
That's cool. Yeah, I don't believe that card's ever been foil either.
Yeah, there you go.
God damn! Now you have me thinking about like how sick super rare Wabaku would be. Damn it!
I would like to see. Yeah, it would be nice. I would like to see foil fusions that we don't have.
Give me Curse of Dragon.
Yeah.
You may continue now.
I was thinking Thousand Eyes Restrict would be a good one,
That's true.
and also just like any of the XYZ Dragon Cannon.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. Why was that not a secret? Like that's
also
actually silly.
Yeah.
That's silly.
It's in the same boat as Izana. Definitely
Um,
should have been secret and wasn't.
I mean,
Right.
at least XYZ still got
And then
Hanger.
And then Union Scramble, I guess, is also cool. But I think my actual pick is just like Thousand Eyes, because that's probably going to be good for a long time as a waking target at least.
Instant fusion.
Yes.
No.
You know-
Magical scientist.
Magical scientist. Yes, this is what we need.
now that we have a possible limited list, I don't know if we would ever get instant fusion because it would be at 3 for a second.
It would be for a second.
And then the next
Emergency ban list.
the next list they'd be like, well, it's on the limited one, so if you want to play instant fusion, you can't play Jinzo or Zoma.
It's like, oh, sorry guys, we messed up by putting this card. Here it is on the list.
Yeah.
Did Matt come back?
Nice.
No, because we got playable cards, man.
I mean,
Matt had two modes he was in.
Mm-hmm.
Completely unplayable garbage, or this is broken as hell. What were you thinking? These were Matt cards.
Yeah,
It was one or the other.
And the percentage of this is completely unplayable. We actually had this thing where we looked at all the boxes. The decks aren't so bad, but if you look at all the box sets, they're like 40 cards. And you count playable cards, they all have like 2.
Heavy
And they're
metal
a
raiders,
40
good
they
skill.
they are a 40 card set. And then it's like, well, those 2 cards are all right.
That's why they all flopped.
Yep.
Yeah. I will say for like being a side format, I do think the number of unplayable cards we get is actually insane. Like for being a side format with a smaller card pool, you should have a higher percentage of cards actually be playable. Like, hey, you should play speed duels. All right, fine. You know, I'll buy a few packs, or like I'll buy this deck or whatever. It's like, oh, most of this is garbage. I don't want to play this stupid format. Like,
Well, going back to what Drake said about like all the completely unplayable cards, if you look through Yu-Gi-Oh's Speed Duel's history, the only like booster that made a viable deck is Trials because it made Moth.
Yeah.
Everything else, all the decks came from the starters.
Yep.
Yeah, pretty much.
Blue Eyes, Gravekeeper, Amazoness, Nightmare Sonic Blast.
There was that warrior deck that ran like Zombina, Command Knight.
Oh yeah, Blade Knight.
Those were from packs, but not from one set.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm just saying, if we get a set of, you know, say, just to throw a number out there, 80 cards, right? And even this is generous, right? But even if 60 of those 80 are unplayable, that's really bad for a side format.
Yeah. And that is. I mean, I would say at least 40 should be somewhat playable cards. Like, it's not good when not at least 40. Let's say average of 40, right? Average of half your set should be somewhat playable cards.
I mean, like,
but
we were literally out here opening like Arena of Lost Souls and being like, man, I sure hope I pull Sphere Creepo. Otherwise, I might as well throw it all in the garbage.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean,
yeah, you know, it's true.
There were some fusions that, even though Waking wasn't printed yet, there was King of the Skull Servants.
I feel like we could do an entire podcast about like cards that should not have been printed, and Waking is probably up there.
Yeah, Waking is.
Yeah, it's definitely not on the level of like
next
Zoma.
time.
Yeah,
that's a good topic for next time. But yeah, it's definitely not on the same level as like Zoma. But yeah, that's not healthy.
Okay. There you go. Yeah, I actually it's a good topic for another episode for sure.
Yeah.
Speaking of topics.
Yeah, so that was our next set, and then a week after that, we are getting Midterm Paradox.
Woo!
Yeah, we know a little bit about
Guardian.
that.
Gate Guardian.
Guardian.
We know Gate Guardian's in it. That's all we know about.
This was all very, just for like the viewers, this was all very sarcastic enthusiasm from all of us. Like, none of us are like actually thinking this is.
But if you get Lucas in here.
Oh, that's right. That's right. Yes.
So it's four decks, right? There is a Jaden deck, a Cyrus deck, a Bastion deck, which could be neat, and a Paradox Brothers deck.
Dragon.
That's about all we know about this set, and that Gate Guardian will be a card. That's the only.
We know Elemental Hero Tempest that's pretty much confirmed because the box art, right?
Wasn't that not official box art though?
Oh, it's not. Oh, I lied.
I'm looking at the box right now, and there is a Gate Guardian.
Confirmed enough. I mean, Cyrus, Jaden,
Yeah, I mean, like probably, and it's a tag thing, and like so, like yeah, probably.
It is
Probably.
a very, very safe speculation.
But
Yeah.
oh no, I forgot what I was gonna say.
All right, then I'll say it. Make Water Dragon playable, please.
Please.
I think the biggest thing about this next set coming out is make the skills better than the GX skills.
Yeah,
That's what I was gonna say. It's
Thank
all
you.
dependent
Yes.
on the skills.
Yeah,
Right. Even if you
Ah.
look at what we got in GX, we actually got a fair amount of decent cards, but then
Yes.
the skills aren't good enough to run them.
I remember before we had the skill reveal, Curseof, you and I at least were very excited. We were like, wow, we got Mali, we got Dasher, we
were literally saying
Dragoon.
we're testing these decks without the GX skills and they're playable.
Right. Plasma, we got Izana. Like, this is going to be great once the skills come in. And the skills came in, they were like, oh, this sucks.
You got looking into the future mostly, and a couple other
Right.
generics like
Right.
room for growth, energizing elements.
Yeah,
Is
that's
there
it.
is there a
Best
fourth
skill.
one?
No, that's it.
Yep.
You named them all.
Yep.
Good job.
We were coping for a couple weeks on Crystal Transcendence, but then it was like, nah, just Crystal Future it.
But
Yeah.
hero swap.
I mean,
right
yeah.
here for
In
the
the
job.
future.
right here for the
in
job.
the
Yeah,
future.
yeah.
So should we talk about what cards we want to see? I know I'm kind of taking your job
Yes.
here.
Are you doing this?
That was going to be my question. Is
okay.
What card, realistic card,
That was
do
my
you want
question.
to see in this?
That was my question. Are we going just pure hopium, or are we going what we think actually might be in there?
Opium.
Well, the bonus cards aren't going to be many, right? So I think we get around 20 bonus cards in a full box set, but this is a half box set, so we
Yeah.
might expect to get around 10.
Well,
bonus
then
cards.
I'm just gonna cheat and go off what I said. I hope for Water Dragon Cluster, the support cards, and a skill that ties them together to make them actually worth playing.
Yeah, that
Yep.
sounds good.
Playable heroes.
That's it.
Any specific ones?
I think, what is it? Blaze Man?
Blazeman would be good. Yeah.
Blaze Man would be really nice, especially to go with the skill that I forgot the name of already.
Does Blazeman activate on special summon?
I think so. I think it's on summon.
I want to say yes. I'm not positive, but I want to say yes.
It's a dueling book.
Checking. If this card is normal or special summon, yo, sick.
There we go.
So you're gonna write hero for the job it?
Yeah, you could. Yeah,
that's the skill you're talking about.
And that's actually a +1 because you search the poly.
Yeah.
Imagine GX skills actually being +1. Crazy.
And then give us some better fusions and call it a day.
Right?
Name a
Easy.
fusion.
Yeah.
What do you want?
Prisma?
I think
That's
we
not a
should
fusion,
also-
but okay. Yeah, let's take Prisma.
I like Prisma for many reasons. Like, and Miracle Fusion, right?
Yes.
I don't think Miracle Fusion's broken whatsoever. It's only good or broken if you can make things like Absolute Zero with it.
Yeah.
So you just don't print Absolute Zero yet.
I will say, because there's a limited list, I no longer want Absolute Zero. Because I wanted it to counter Parasite plays, right? Because the interaction would work like I equip Parasite to your Absolute Zero, I tribute it, I summon Moth, and then you could just be like, okay, Absolute Zero has a special ability. It destroys your Moth.
You fool.
So, since that no longer is going to be as frequent of a thing, I think Absolute Zero now becomes like toxic instead of like a counter to Moth.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah,
But
I think my three are Blazeman, Prisma, and Solid Soldier. I like the
Solid
Soldier.
Cool. Yeah.
Yes.
That's a cool one. Yeah.
yeah. They're all like not like completely over the top, but like they actually give heroes some playability, which is what we need.
Right. Yeah.
It sucks that Solid Soldier doesn't trigger on special. I just checked it. That sucks.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's not bad. You could go Solid Soldier into Blazeman, into Surge Poly, and I know we just
then tag out for Prisma.
Dude, yes! Oh my god, it's so good. But yeah, no, but I know we talked about like no Absolute Zero, but I would like to see some of the more like tame, so to speak, specifically to Nova Master and Elemental Hero Gaia for Fire and Earth E-Hero fusions.
What about the Dark?
But yeah, the Dark is also fairly tame. Yeah, he just gains attack points.
It's probably the weakest of them all.
Yeah.
He is the weaker one. Yeah, so those three, and maybe Great Tornado if you want to push the wind.
Great.
But
I normal summon Evian.
Right, yeah. I mean, yeah, I don't know.
Any deck that if any deck that says, yeah, you should normal summon Atheon, yeah, I'm down. I'm on board.
Yes, yeah, that would be too.
I want to
summon Prisma, send Davion, and get Great Tornado right there.
I'm gonna give another one, but it's for Terramaster because he's talked about it a lot. But Destiny Hero Celestial.
Yes,
or
please.
Decider.
Decider more important. Sorry. I don't understand why in a format with so many burn cards we can't have the anti-burn Destiny Hero. Like it's so annoying to me. The only card I would want from like the other decks, I don't care about Gay Guardian, sorry Lucas, is what the Roid counter trap, right? Which will encourage Roid fusions because it needs that to be an Omni negate. And it also gives you a counterplay to any burn effect, any parasite, anything like that. But yeah.
Parasite won't be a thing, Copium.
Copium.
So yeah, mine was just Prisma, Miracle Fusion, and Card Trooper.
Yes, Miracle Fusion.
Card Trooper.
I always forget about
played
Trooper.
It, and I think it's a neat card.
Give us Mirage and Nightmare. He played that too.
He also, just MST for good measure.
Yeah, sure. But no. Like I tell people, I want Card Trooper in Speed Duels, and they're like, I don't know if that would do enough. It's like, okay, well, look what they're giving us. Are those doing enough? It's okay to have some fun cards, right?
Yeah,
a card that you could potentially play in Unions. You could potentially play in Elemental Heroes with Miracle Fusion. Or you can play it in Skull Servants or whatever, right? Yeah. It has a lot of things that you could play it in.
Yeah, is it gonna be the best? Maybe not, but yeah, I agree with you. Like some cards like that are fine. It's like, look, it may not be top tier right away, but could it be playable in some things? Yeah.
It's also seems really good with Chimera Tech.
Yes.
Mill 3 cards and then replace itself, and it's
overload.
OTK.
Overload.
I mean, it sounds good in that. That might be its biggest boost.
Yeah, I will say random Jaden cards. Necro Gardna, please. That is all.
Yes.
Yeah, absolutely.
Trooper, Gardna, Mali, something.
You have a deck.
Mali.
There's a deck there somewhere.
That's right. Graveyard Turbo.
All right, so we do have one more set. It's called Shadow Riders, or actually the name changed to Duelists of Shadows. But we're going to save that for a future video because we have a lot to discuss there, and we might even have more info by the time we post the next podcast.
Fingers crossed.
Hopefully. But that'll be it for today. So do you have any shout-outs, Justice?
Yeah, I mean, for me personally, of course, the Twitch stream at twitch.tv/JDGJustice, for, bunch we just wrapped up Speed Duel Master Circuit Season 1, but Master Circuit Season 2 will be starting, in a few weeks, so stay tuned for that. And I just started streaming, Pokemon TCG Online, actually, and I'll probably continue doing that, so if you're interested in that, check it out for that, too. And, the Discord, which will, of course, as always be linked in the video description.
I guess I'll go next, and we'll save the best Speed Duel YouTuber for last. Obviously, my YouTube channel is with Justice, is this channel, so that's cool. Stream is twitch.tv/TerraMaster_Legacy, where for now it's only banlist tournaments, but I am trying my best to find a slot to stream Pokemon content again, which is either going to be Nuzlocking video games or I do play the TCG with Justice as well, so there's that could be coming. But that's all I got. So over to the hello everybody guy.
Make sure you guys check out Curse of Yugioh on YouTube. I got some big projects coming, a little bit less frequent videos for some videos that I'm hoping can help expand the channel. And also, Yugioh Legacy Discord server. Terramaster doesn't even know this, but I'm currently working with Lucas to bring you guys some new tournaments with some cool new prizes.
Nice.
Hey, all right.
Behind God's back, insane.
All right. Well, thank you all for coming, and thanks everyone for listening. We'll see you next time.
Peace.
Take care.